What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the Boss Podcast today. Today's boss is Alex, also known as Alex Profit. He's going to be talking to us about everything Turo and renting out your car. How are you, Alex?
Doing good, guys.
Sir, I'm excited, man. I'm excited to have you here, man.
Yeah, man. Excited to be here.
I got a ton of questions. I got a ton of questions off the bat, man. I want to dive right into it. So you rent cars on Turo?
Yeah. So I started out renting cars on Turo, and that I couldn't even saw coming up because of what I was doing earlier. I was selling on Amazon. So started on Turo, expanded to private rentals, which just essentially is renting directly to the customer, cutting out Turo so we don't have to pay as much in fees. And then, yeah, man, the rest has been pretty much history. So we do a little bit of Turo, mostly private rentals.
So you said you used to sell on Amazon.
Yes.
So what happened with that? Used to. Keyword.
Are we ready for that right away?
Yeah. Hey, listen. If that's before the Turo thing, I might as well want to know.
That's part of it, yeah.
I'm curious too because I didn't know that.
Yeah. So if we go even farther back than that, I started out just reselling sneakers. So like Jordans, Nikes, and then pretty much like the outlet stores. You guys know about the outlet stores. I always got a bunch of like cheaper stuff you can find on discount. So in the beginning of that phase, I didn't really start focus on the hype stuff because it was way harder to get. So started reselling sneakers. That was really good. But what I understood was I had to be there. As bad as this sounds, I had to be there in order for the money to be made. So if something happened to me or I wanted to go on vacation, I just wasn't making money at that time because it was all based around the sourcing. Same way for retail arbitrage.
We get no days off. We have no paid holidays.
Exactly. So my main focus for that was mostly the Nike outlets. So only sneakers at the Nike outlet. And then I found out about selling on Amazon. I was I could source these same stores except expand to more than just sneakers in the store. So I was oh, I can take out a little bit of the hustle, transition to Amazon. And then that's what I did. And I got this 2018 Ford Transit van, took all the seats out of it, and that's what I would use to source. So going to all the outlets and getting as much Amazon stuff I can to sell, and then started transitioning that to the wholesale model. So we didn't really use that van as much. So I was let's just throw it on Turo, see what happens. And first month it booked up for $1,500. The payment was this was well before COVID, so obviously with the car market, prices were a lot different. So I think the payment was $280 a month, and the insurance was $100. So $350, $380 all in on the cost. And my whole thing was at the worst case scenario, it'll break even, and I'll just get a free van for the Amazon business. And that's kind of how everything started. And then I started to add more cars after that first month. But then I kind of ran into not really knowing what I was doing, just like anything else, right? You start off, you see something work a little bit and you're oh shit, I can really do this. Let's just go all in. And that's kind of what happened with Turo. And it took me about a year to understand how to actually be a Turo host, deal with all of the crazy things that you guys probably hear about with people renting out on Turo, all that stuff. So yeah, that's how I went from sneakers to Amazon to Turo, but I no longer sell on Amazon because my account got shut down. So
oh, we got to talk about that. Wait,
yeah.
So Turo is such a niche. There are people that talk about it, but I feel not a lot of people are educated on it.
Yeah.
When you hit for instance, me, my own opinion. When I hear Turo, I'm damn, somebody's gonna screw up my car, man. I hear horror stories from other people that happen to rent out Teslas. A couple of rideshare guys that were they were doing rideshare, but they bought 2 other cars to rent out while they were doing rideshare and all this other stuff. But you just real quick before we hop into that, when you were selling on Amazon, you were selling straight up just sneakers. You were going to Nike outlets and you were doing all the popular sneakers and.
Well, so that was why I was oh, Amazon is a no-brainer, because I was just selling sneakers when I was in that business. It was just sneaker reselling, simply as it was, right? StockX, eBay, and then because I was getting all that product from the Nike outlet, I was I could open up 100% of this store because you can sell all that stuff on Amazon, and I could make more money with less effort. So that's how I originally got onto Amazon, was just strictly selling Nike, but all of Nike instead of just the shoes.
So you had a transit van, you took out the seats, you were I'm going to rent it out.
No, I took out the seats because it had seats in it, and I had to pack shit in
Everything
it
for
sourcing.
Amazon.
Yeah. So then when I took, like, when we were not using it as much for the sourcing, I was like, put the seats back in, and we'll throw it on Turo. So that's how that originally got put on Turo. And again, it's just simply looking to cover the payment on it, and then $1,500 in revenue. I was like, okay, gonna be something here. So.
And now I've checked out your social media, your IG, which is Alex Profits on IG. And you have like a fleet of cars from anything from like Corollas all the way up to like Escalades and probably even more, right? I mean, I don't know what's in your fleet, but I can see you have some pretty high-end cars in there.
Yeah.
How did you decide that you wanted to do this as a business? And then how did you because people are like, dude, you know how much money I need to have in order to get these cars and all this other stuff? Like, what made you want to do it as a full-time gig? Like, did you just see it profitable after the first rental?
Well, my thing is, like, every business or everything that I've ever done in business was trying to help in some way or another, or like subsidize something I was already spending money on, right? So that was why I got into sneakers, because I wanted to get the cool sneakers for free, essentially sell a pair, get a pair. So with the cars, I was like, this solves a problem for the Amazon business. This is a no-brainer. So like, I'm not looking to get rich. And at that time, if you were like, bro, you're going to have over 70, 80, 90 cars that you manage and own, like, I would be like, no, I would never think that to be the thing. But it's just because like one thing after the other, I was like, okay, this works. How can I slowly start taking it to the next level? And then I think 3 months after that, I added another car, which was the exact like extreme of what I teach today, because where I post content about today and like what I have in my fleet, the most profitable cars are like your cheapest possible cars. Like I'm talking $5,000 to $10,000 cars. So my second car on Turo was like straight to like what I thought was the top, because I was, again, like trying to go all in. How can I get my dream car for free? That's the way that I thought of it. And that's how I feel like a lot of people kind of think about it nowadays, which is why they run into so many problems, because the second car I got was a Dodge Charger Hellcat, and I put that on Turo.
Whoa,
so
man.
Yeah, so it was from it's not from minivan, but from transit van, the safe, like whatever, this is gonna be cool let's take this to like the most extreme level and see what happens. And I ran into so many problems. I ended up having to exit that car specifically with negative equity on it, because the Turo host, like, we don't know any better. The payment, let's say the payment is $1,000 a month. We make $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. Okay, anything over the payment, we're just gonna pocket it. You don't really think to know about negative equity or depreciation. Like, obviously depreciation is a thing, but the other part that nobody really understood was, or nobody in my camp understood, was who wants to buy a Hellcat that has 100,000 miles on it too? Because it's like, a Hellcat with 100,000 miles is going to be significantly cheaper than everything else. And the same thing, like a Lambo, on like the extreme level, who's buying a Lambo with 100,000 miles on it? So really the most important thing in this business is like the exit strategy, how you're going to be able to exit the vehicle and still be profitable over the term that you have it. And that was like the first thing that I realized that I felt like somewhat of importance to lead toward long-term success.
Guys, thank you so much for tuning into this episode. The Boss Podcast is sponsored by Amazon Lit. If you're looking to start an Amazon business, or you'd like information on how to start an Amazon business, or maybe you already have an Amazon business and you're looking for guidance, knowledge, or education, you definitely want to check out the guys over at Amazon Lit. I got a link in the description. You can check it out and go ask them whatever you like. There's no obligation, but you can at least ask them and get some knowledge and education. If you've always wanted to start a business, now's the time to do it. There's no better time than now. Amazon Lit, appreciate you guys. Thank you for sponsoring the podcast. And now back to the show. And you had a crazy story about the Hellcat, right? Didn't somebody take the Hellcat and like drove to the border or something? Or I was following one of your stories or something.
Yeah.
There's something about the Hellcat, like.
So the Hellcat, I mean, crazy stuff happens with that car, all the time anyway. But
So what was like the craziest thing that happened with the Hellcat, in your opinion?
Craziest thing that happened to the Hellcat? Oh, probably somebody. So this was kind of stupid, but the craziest thing, and this, you guys aren't going to think that this is really that crazy, but somebody rented the car and they left a Louis Vuitton bag in the car and then left it in like non-gated parking and then just smashed the window on it. and took out the LV bag, and then the car or the window was just shattered everywhere. But that was honestly the worst thing that happened to the Hellcat. The story that you're talking about was with an SUV that somebody like basically never returned the car, and they took it all the way to the border. But I could tell that story.
Absolutely.
Okay, so
is this one of the craziest stories that have happened with the rental car business?
This is the second craziest story. I got another one
Okay.
that's crazier that I'll share. But so this one, this guy, he so with volume, right? Things start to look the same. It's not like we're overlooking things, but it's like this guy, I didn't see anything wrong with him, right? Because this was a Turo trip. It wasn't a private rental trip. So he rented the car. He picked up the car, no problems, whatever. He was going to Vegas. That's what he told me. This was when I was in San Diego. So he rented the car, took it to Vegas. He was supposed to return it on like a Sunday, and he took it on like a Thursday. He asked me, he was like, hey, I want to stay another night. Can I extend a little bit? So then I was like, cool, whatever, not a problem. But you can't extend any more after this because I have like a month-long trip right after, that day you're supposed to drop it off.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, cool, no problems. And then 24 hours before that trip's supposed to end, I sent him a message, hey, still on track to drop the vehicle off? He's like, yep, not a problem, good to go. I go to bed, and then he starts messaging. Thank God I was up, because this was like 1 a.m. He started messaging like, car won't start, dropped it off. He's like just making up stuff. Like he didn't even really speak that great of English. So then he told me, he was like, Turo told me to leave the car here and leave the car in, or the key in it, and I can go on my way. And I was like, that's the craziest thing I've ever heard. Turo would never tell you that at all. So I called up Turo, and they're like, no, we don't know anything about this. So then that's when I knew. I was like, okay. And then I checked the tracker after this point, and I was like, oh, you're not in Vegas, are you? He was in Washington, so all the way up at the Canadian border.
That is a huge discrepancy. That's like that's such a huge gap. Like that's crazy.
It was crazy. So all of this stuff I'm telling you, I figured out like in phases. Like this could be like 24 hours after the next. So what I ended up figuring out was he because he told me the car was at whatever the location was that he was saying that, oh, I just dropped it off here, which the car really wasn't there. When I checked the tracker, it was in somebody's backyard right next to the border. So what happened was he told me that the car had problems, whatever. What actually happened was he drove the car through somebody's yard, like house in the front, big like backyard in the back, and then the border is the Canadian border right there, like literally in their backyard. Drove the car through the yard, got out of the car, and ran across the border. And then I guess that happens a lot in that area. Like people steal cars or rent cars and then go across the border, because the cops told me later that the guy that lives in that house called up the cops and was like, yeah, it's happening again. You guys are going to have to come get the car.
I mean, imagine
like,
being that homeowner,
yeah,
too. Like, that homeowner is
crazy.
right there on the border, and you just got cars driving through your yard every so often. Like
every day?
It's just like...
How often does it happen?
That's crazy.
But it has to happen enough for them to, like, even say that it's a thing, like, oh, this has happened. Or for that guy to be like, oh, it happened again.
Yeah, like it's
Right.
casual.
Yeah, like it's just something that's just, oh, somebody rented your car and you didn't think that this was possible? Like everybody's supposed to know about it type of thing. But yeah, so then the police, they impounded the car, and then I had to get it out of the impound. But the thing with the impound, I don't know if you guys know if you ever had a car impounded, but if you don't pick up the car within a certain amount of time, then it becomes a possession of that lot.
It goes to auction.
You're battling time, and then we're like Turo's supposed to be covering all this stuff. And later they did, but they reimburse it. So if these things happen and you're waiting on Turo, like that's just a bad situation. So you can't just have no cash and then expect to be okay with the money that's coming in case something happens. So
where were you located when
this was in San Diego?
So you were in San Diego.
Yeah.
And then this guy was supposed to be just going to Vegas, which I'm assuming is just one highway drive across the state lines, right?
That's what I was trying to say in the beginning. Like that's
Yeah.
very normal. Like people go to Vegas all the time. Even when I was living out there, I went out to Vegas all the time. So that's what I was like, oh, you're going to Vegas? Cool, for a couple days. Makes sense.
Do you keep trackers in all your vehicles?
Yeah.
What do you use, like an Apple iTag or?
No, so what I do is I'll have like a dummy tracker and then a hidden tracker. So the dummy tracker tells us like all the diagnostics and like everything on the car, but like they can see it.
Okay.
So like if they were like, oh, I'm going to steal this, and they unplug it, if
Right.
one goes down, I know, and then the other one is like hardwired connected into the car, and we can kill switch it. So
How many cars do you have in your fleet?
So I own 24 myself, and then I manage an additional 53.
So when you say manage an additional 53, are you partners with somebody else with vehicles, or because if you own, or do you mean like you own 24 outright and the other 53 are?
That's a good question. So the cars I do own outright, but the cars that I manage, other people own them or other people finance them or whatever the deal is. So it's like a revenue sharing thing. So the owner of the vehicle will get 60%. But if they have a payment, their payment has to come out of their 60%, and then we keep 40%.
So you could take somebody else's vehicle, rent it out on Turo.
Yep.
You get a percentage of that, and you don't even have to own the vehicle.
No, but so before even social media, I was already managing 10 cars. But the social media side is what really helped amplify everything, because I could just send a message, and instead of like people being local to my area to be like, oh, what do you think about this? Because in San Diego at the time, like there's a big military presence. So it really wasn't that difficult to get people, because those military people would rent our cooler cars, right? And they'd be like, oh, and they'd get interested. And then that would kind of lead up to like a management deal. But the social media side just opened up everything, because then you have people all across the US, or like what happened today, this guy, he flew in and we purchased a car to put on management today. So you could either have a car that you want to put on management, or based off of the need of the fleet, I'll recommend a car, and then I'll help you through the purchasing process of getting that car onboarded, and then we revenue share from there.
So if you were to have somebody, like, what would you recommend if somebody wanted to start a fleet, right? Like instead, like, I know obviously it's probably just rent out what you have, right? Because that's probably cost you the least amount of money.
Yeah.
But if somebody wants to maybe get a second or a third vehicle,
Yeah.
would they be better off purchasing it for themselves and financing it through whatever, or buying a $5,000 vehicle outright and then renting that, or partnering with somebody else to kind of just get some revenue coming in?
It really kind of depends, like, what your goals are. And this might sound crazy, but I have people that have managed vehicles with me, and their only goal is to have like a supercar paid off on their credit. So they don't technically really care if that deal is profitable, as long as they don't lose money and they can show a supercar paid off on their credit report. Like that's what, so there's levels to all that stuff. But I would say if this interests you, the only way you should start is with a car that you already have, no matter if it's, because every car is good to start with, but not every car is good long-term for Turo, because what you would be able to do by starting with your own car is simply just understand the business, put some systems and processes in place, and see if it's going to be a good fit for you. That way, I don't think there's really anything out there side hustle wise that is like low barrier to entry, because chances are you already have a car. So if this interests you and you had the time, 4 to 6 hours a week to put towards it, you could test it out with no money out of pocket and see if it's good for you. And then if it's good for you, if you like it, then if you can afford a car in cash, I would recommend something between $8,000 and $15,000. But if you can't, still would never recommend financing anything more than $15,000 to $20,000, because the goal is to own the car outright as soon as possible, because then you can control the exit strategy. And we're just minimizing risk is like the most important thing, very base level, that we're doing in this business. And when you own the car, you can minimize that risk. But if you finance it and you have negative equity and all these other things, like you don't really control your own business. So I never really recommend being over leveraged, but even more specifically, like half of your car should be owned outright in cash, and then the other cars can be financed. But that has nothing to do with the management side, because it doesn't really bother the business or have anything to do with the business if somebody else has something financed.
So that's what I'm curious about, though. I'm curious because so 24 cars you own outright, but how do you, when you say manage, like what does that mean? Like you contact me and you say, hey,
Yeah.
I see you have a Dodge Durango, it has X amount of miles on it. I got a couple of clients that have been asking for this Dodge Durango. Would you partner with me in listing this vehicle? Is that really all it takes? Or are these like companies that you go to like for the management side?
No, so where I get like the people that put cars with me now are either people that have already had cars with and they just renew or get a different car or whatever. But nowadays, most people, I would say all of them are coming from social media. So they either have a car and it's instant.
So anybody can partner with you. Anybody can partner with you to.
Anybody can partner with me, but like the most profitable cars for management would be investing, like putting $10,000 cash into a cash car, because then, you can make $500, $600, $700 residually without doing anything with a $10,000 investment. But those spots fill up the quickest. You know what I'm saying? Because I can only have a certain amount of economy cars, and as I just told you, the ones that I own are majority those, right? So I'd also be doing a disservice to the person that I'm managing their car if I have 38 other economy cars before theirs goes out too. So anybody can put a car with me. It just depends on availability, and if you do have a car, it has to be a good fit. But if you have an open mind and you have good credit, you have cash on hand, chances are we could work something out. It just depends on, like I said, we work on like a 3, 6, 9, 12 month contracts, and they all kind of are different as when like they line up for availability. But
it's such an interesting concept, like car rental. I always think of car rental as being like this like hard thing to set up and do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Until like Turo came.
Well, that's why Turo is so great to start out, because they solve all those problems, the insurance and the license and all that stuff that you would need to set up if you were going to do it on your own.
That's what I wanted to ask you about. Yeah. You just hit it right on the head. Insurance. That must be a crushing, like not crushing, like, but I mean like a huge chunk of revenue. I mean, my personal car insurance. So in Massachusetts, for 2 cars, full coverage, all that stuff, I was paying $176. I moved to Florida. I knew it was going to come up. Yeah. It was $215 for 2 cars. Then they went up to $262, and then they went up to $304, and now I'm paying $405. Oh my God! For full coverage for 2 vehicles. That's crazy. Now to be fair, my wife got into an accident. That was her fault.
I see. Okay.
So we only have one, but before that it was $320 with nothing on there.
Yeah.
So it was $320 with nothing on there. So much so, my insurance was going to go up to over $700 with a $500 deductible. I adjusted my insurance to $2,000 deductible because I'm like, if something happens, okay, I'll pay up to $2,000 for it, but I'm not gonna like keep paying like all this, like $700 a month for car insurance.
It's outrageous.
That is ridiculous. Insanity.
But would you say that like a fleet insurance policy is cheaper than like individual?
That's a mixed question, because if you're only doing Turo, you can get cheaper insurance than what you have right now. Because there's this policy, if anybody's watching, if they want to start out on Turo and want this policy, it's called ABI period X. That plan is $89 a month, and it meets state minimum requirements. So for Turo, they provide insurance when your vehicle is on a trip, but it's not insurance that's on the car like when it's not on a trip. Mm-hmm. And any state, if the car is registered, it has to have at least state minimum insurance on it. So with this ABI period X insurance that runs like $89 a month, again, you can only use this for Turo. So if you were doing it on your own, you need a different insurance plan. But they offer, like I said, the state minimum requirements, and it's like $89 a month. So it's nothing really that crazy, because Turo provides that insurance when it's on a trip, and that's based in the protection plan like that you choose on like the hosting side. But on the private side, you can look at paying $250 to $850 per car per month, maybe more than that. It just kind of depends on what it is. But
do you have any Teslas in your fleet?
Yes.
Do you like a Tesla vehicle?
I think they're pretty cool.
From a personal standpoint?
Yeah, I think it's got to be the right individual for them, like for it to be a good fit. Because if you're like a gas car person, you won't last with the Tesla for sure, because there's just so many specific things with that car that it's like, oh, I didn't know that like cars aren't really supposed to be like this, or whatever the case may be. But overall, I think it's a very solid car. I just am not too sure on how they are like over 130,000 miles. But I've had some instances, not me personally, but you can get up to 130 with no issues, and I've also seen things happen like battery needing to be replaced. That's
like a $20K fix, isn't it? It's like a $20,000 fix or something like that.
And that's the thing with the used Tesla market. Like, I don't know if you guys saw this, but a couple months ago, Hertz was offloading all of their rental Teslas, and you could pick them up for like, I think $15, $16, $17,000. Yeah.
For what, like a Model 3, $17,000?
Yeah. So it was, and it came with you can still get this tax credit. You can get a used EV tax credit of $4,000. So that would also come off that price as well. So I think like the actual list price was 18, and then if you get $4,000 discount from 18 on the tax credit, that's $14K for a Tesla with 90,000 miles. I know it's a lot, but still,
Right.
It's like for the price, it's kind of crazy.
You know, the crazy thing is I've talked to like, I call them Tesla Maxis, like those that are just like, Tesla's the best.
Yeah.
Electricity, it's the way. Once you drive Tesla, you won't drive gas. Oh, you spent $70 filling up your gas tank. It's like, shut up. You just wasted 40 minutes sitting at a fucking charger doing nothing.
Literally.
What are you
Right,
talking
yeah.
about?
It's only like 2 hours
Like,
sometimes.
That is the down.
I would go
downside
back
for
and
sure.
forth with these rideshare guys, and I was doing rideshare for a little bit, and I had gas cars, and they were renting their Teslas through other companies
Yeah.
and stuff, and the argument was, oh, you spent $75 to fill up your truck. Well, are you going to get enough rides to like compensate that for XL rides or higher tiered rides? And my argument was, well, in the 45 minutes you spent to get to 100%,
Yeah.
I probably could have gotten 2 rides to compensate the gas price. Meanwhile, your electricity price is going up and up and up. You started at 7 cents a kilowatt. Now you're paying 14, sometimes 28 cents a kilowatt just to charge up. And you can sit there for 20, 30 minutes, and depending on how fast it is, if it's a fast charger, if it's a
Right.
trickle charger, whatever it is, you could only fill up to 80%. So it's like, I feel like it's all relative, but you can't talk to a Tesla person. They're just,
Well,
it's not possible.
I don't know how the home charger works, because I've only ever charged anything at a supercharger, because I feel like that's the quickest way. So if you are going to charge it at home, like in your garage or whatever, I guess if it charges overnight, it's not that big of a deal. But I feel like it's always the inconvenience of, if I need gas, like you were saying, or I don't have any charge, I have to go sit here for X period of time until I'm ready to go at the supercharger. Or if you're at home and it's like, oh, I'll charge it in the morning, and it's like, oh, I forgot. And it's like, and the worst thing about the Tesla is I've heard, this hasn't happened to me, but I heard if you let it fully die, like the car's done.
Oh, really?
Really?
Yeah, like you can't restart it. Like, has to get taken back to Tesla. I don't know if that's a fact or not, but I'm pretty sure if the battery fully dies, like it has to go back to Tesla to get.
It's such a I think it's
Or
still such
requires
a
a new
new
battery.
market.
Yeah.
I think it's still such a new market, like electric cars, that like they're still trying to work it out. I mean, if we think about vehicles, right?
Yeah.
Cars have not changed at all until the electric car.
Until the
everything has
Tesla.
pretty much been the same combustion. You have your supercars or whatever, but everything kind of runs the same. It's just how much or how little does a car have of something, But
Even in the EV market nowadays, like it's crazy that Tesla is as successful as they are with all of the other brands that are out there. It's like none of them are really going to make it. Like even Rivian, they're burning so much cash. They're not even really profitable. Like Lucid Motors,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the Saudis had to bail them out with billions of dollars every single year. They're just burning cash. So it's like Tesla's really the only option that has made it so far, and actually is to a certain extent like profitable.
You know what? And this is total conspiracy, but I feel like the EV market is not, and I'm not against the EV market. I think electric cars are cool.
Yeah.
If you can make sure you fully control them and nobody else has any access to it. You know what I mean? That's the only problem I have. But I think that what crushed the electric market are, and I'm going to go on a whim here, and I know I'm probably going to get shit, and I don't care. But I feel like governments that say you need to switch to an electric car, as humans, even if I want an electric car,
No, I don't want one.
screw you. I don't want an electric car anymore because you're telling me
Yeah.
that I have to have
Right.
one, right? I mean, this could go all the way even to the pandemic. You're gonna have to get a shot. I don't want a shot. You're gonna have to get it.
Or you
well,
have
no,
to wear
I don't
a
want.
mask or whatever.
Yeah,
Or
it's
you
just
have to stay
when you
inside.
tell somebody you have to do something and you're telling them that it's the better option, but you're
Yeah.
forced to do it, you start to question. It's just human nature. It's
Yeah.
just like I don't want the electric car.
It's all
now.
about
You know what I mean?
all
Like,
about money. That's all. Anything that's you're questioning at the end of the day is going to come back to money. Anything, even with the COVID stuff, I feel that way.
Do you think from a rental standpoint, do you think the EVs rent better than gas cars, or are you still the gas cars are still powering?
Gas cars are, because at the end of the day, the biggest population for the rental car market is your lowest income level,
Right.
Or the lowest, cheapest possible vehicle that you can rent, because the most amount of people, the majority of people can actually afford that car. And when you get into bigger markets like Miami, LA, New York, you have a lot of people in those markets that they can't even afford to have a car for themselves. Like they don't have the credit, whatever, for the down payment. They can't afford to get a car for themselves, and they do, not rideshare, but a lot of the different side hustles and things you can do with the vehicle, like moving packages and stuff for Amazon, whatever, for hire vehicle, whatever it is. That's a really big part of that marketplace, right? Or that market share is either people that can't afford a car or people that are using a car for hire stuff, which like people aren't always going after the electric stuff.
Right.
So I honestly think the majority of people that go after the electric stuff is people that like they know that they want to rent this, and there's not that many more people that know like, oh, I want to rent a Tesla on vacation than the other side. So
what would you say is your most profitable car on the fleet right now?
Dodge Grand Caravan minivan.
Really?
Yeah.
I would have never guessed that.
That is, yeah. It's because of how cheap you can pick it up. Like you can pick that up for 10, 15K, 70,000 miles on it, and people are going to value that higher than a 5-seater 4-door sedan just because of the utility that it provides. It has 7, 8 seats, has a bunch of space, and it could, flex down into the cheaper price point, like if you were on Turo and needed to drop it a little bit lower. But yeah, that car brings in probably like $2,300 a month.
What's your highest tier vehicle that you rent out?
Probably a Cullinan Rolls Royce.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, is that one that you own, or is that a
No.
This is somebody who's like, hey,
Yeah.
you could rent this out when somebody how much does something like that cost to get a Rolls Royce from a consumer's point of view?
The deposit alone is
Well, like a rental or to buy it or both?
No, to rent it
To
out.
rent it?
You have
like,
to put down a hefty deposit.
Yeah,
even
so
get the car.
the damage deposit on the Cullinan is $2,000. So you have
That's
to
not
put down
that
a
bad.
$2,000
That's not that
deposit,
bad.
But it's like $1,500 to $2,500 per day.
$1,500 to $2,500 a day.
Yeah.
Holy shit!
Plus
and if you
gas.
have one little rock, if you're on the highway and it just grazes it,
Yeah.
that's like a $30,000 fix.
Well, that's the other
You're gonna
part.
paint the whole thing.
That's the other part is the questions that you have and everybody else has about why I don't want to do this because, oh, my car could XYZ get damaged. That's actually probably one of the most profitable things about the entire business is profiting on damage. So
I love it.
I hate to say it, but I hope if any of you guys out there rent the car, you damage it because we'll make some money on it. So
That's like the bank's overdraft fee, right? Like you
Yeah.
can have the bank account,
Yep.
but if you ain't got enough money, we're gonna charge you the fee, and that's it. They profit billions on that. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
totally. I mean, I couldn't imagine damage on a Cullen. Like that's crazy.
yeah. So
That-
the thing that would factor in like how profitable you're going to be, and then obviously the business owner, if you're running your own, you can make this decision is what do we want to do to it? Meaning, does it actually require a direct OEM replacement, like from the manufacturer? Does it have to have this part to work properly? If that's the case, that's worst case scenario. That would be like a break-even situation. Because even your connection with the body shop, like they're getting the parts from the manufacturer, they can't get like discounts on that. You know what I mean?
What if somebody takes that Rolls Royce, gets on a high-speed chase on 95,
Yep.
crashes it, totals it? Is a person better off totaling the car and having insurance take care of it, or returning it with damage?
That's actually a really
Honest
good
question.
It all depends on because at the end of the day, it's gonna go back to them. It's not gonna hit my insurance because I have 6 levels of protection before you hit my insurance. So anybody that's even gonna rent the Cullinan, we're gonna make sure that their insurance is valid. We verified it and it meets the limits to even cover
Drive that.
this vehicle.
Right.
And if that's the case, my insurance company is going to go after your insurance company and they're going to get paid out. But that's going to affect you if you did it over the long term way more than like your premium is going to shoot through the roof.
Right.
Imagine if, bro, can you imagine totaling a $500,000 car?
No, I
What would
can't.
your insurance do?
Oh my God.
So you get dropped, right? And then
Yeah,
it's
you
like,
would literally
who's
get
ever
dropped.
going to insure you ever again?
Right.
So
We're sorry.
Would that be better? I don't know. Like direct out-of-pocket payment today, probably, but over the long term, probably not. But yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, because I mean, listen, I was saying my insurance went up $84 a month, just based on $15,000 worth of front damage.
Yeah.
It was drivable still, but you had to replace the fender, sensors, and all that crap to my wife's vehicle. But if it goes up $84 a month, which is 15 of $500,000, I mean, no, I mean, yeah. Which kind of sucks too, because whether you get in a car whether you get in a crash in a Corolla or a Rolls Royce, it's like, I don't know. It's not the same, but it's like
It's kind of the same.
it's kind of the same, right?
Kind of the same.
How?
Because like you still have to pay out. Someone's still got to pay out. The parts are just a little bit more expensive on the car.
Just a tad, right? Just a little bit more
Yeah,
expensive.
13,000 versus $500,000. That's all.
Pretty much
The
the same
insurance
thing.
company will love you. You want to screw with the insurance companies? Rent a Cullinan, and fucking off-road it. You know, just
Off-road it.
Boom. So, personal question: do you rent any Lambos, any Lamborghinis?
I had a Urus on management, but nothing currently at the moment. And those, like, that's my thing with the exotic is. My thing is mostly the economy side, so I'll
Right.
take them on, but it's only as I have customers for them. So the people that rent like the super high end stuff, those
They don't come
usually-
around very often.
Well,
It's
they
like-
do, but it's more long term contracts, like people that want it for a month or 2 months, or because not like if you wanted to rent for 2 months, you couldn't rent for the full 2 months. It's all like 30 days at a time, right? But still, those vehicles, because of like all the risk associated, like. That's your ideal customer, even if you want to take a little bit less. Like, as I told you, like $1,500, $2,500 per day, that's the daily rate. But if you're going to take it for the month, like, we'll let you have it for like 8 to 12K. So
you said we went over the number 2 craziest story.
yeah.
What's the number 1? I couldn't imagine. I mean, if somebody's going to steal your car, drive it through a yard, fly over the Canadian
Canada.
border, I could really...
This one definitely takes the cake. And I'll preface it by just saying FBI.
Oh, no.
So
Oh, no.
this particular trip, this customer rented a Durango. So I'm glad you gave that Durango reference.
Durangos,
earlier.
yes.
It's a brand new Durango, 2023. This elderly lady rented it, verified everything, nothing, no problems at all. She picked it up, was on her way. Looked like a pretty cool car. Why would this old lady be driving this car? I don't ask questions. We have the trackers. I can see all that stuff. I check the trackers generally in the middle, not in the middle of the night, throughout the day, but not in the middle of the night. But what ended up happening was this lady kept extending and extending and extending and extending and extending. And like I said, I would never check the trackers in the middle of the night. But long story short, I ended up finding out that this guy, the grandson from this lady, was taking this car all the way up to New York City and doing drug runs like in the middle of the night. But I didn't find that out until afterwards because I checked all that data like after.
He had his grandmother be the mule.
Yes.
You were the mule. You were the decoy grandma.
So she rented the car, and this guy was, I don't know how big or small this guy was, but if the FBI is involved, then he was probably moving some weight. But anyways, what ends up happening is my business partner, it didn't happen to me, but what ended up happening was they showed up at his house because the car was registered to his house. And that's the other part about this business. If you own the vehicle, whoever owns the vehicle, if there is any illegal activity involved with that vehicle, they don't know who is doing it other than who it's registered to. So that's their first thing. So they pulled up, FBI pulled up to his house, lasers to his chest, all that stuff. And he was like, holy fuck, like, what's going on? And they're like, we've been tracking you for the past blah, blah, blah. We know you're blah, blah, blah. We know you're like all friends, family, like everything. Like they've been watching this, like him, my business partner, like it was, like he was the person that was doing these drug runs.
Did they notify you about watching this vehicle? Or they didn't even know that this
No.
vehicle was rented?
No, they didn't know it was rented. So he was like, what are you talking about? Like, I have the tracker right
To
here.
your business partner?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
so
shit.
he's telling the cops, he's like, look, like, it's not me, because it was registered to him, right?
Right.
So he's like, look, it's on a rental. Like, here's the rental agreement, the tracker. And the craziest part was he was like, look, the car's 2 streets over. And they were like, oh, shit. So they all hop in the cars and they go and chase him. Never found him. The car was abandoned. And yeah, so that went on for like a whole month and a half before we ended up finding that with the FBI coming up. And
I wonder if the guy knew that would happen, that the FBI would go after the registered owner.
Yeah.
And somehow he would know, or
Because he just like dropped the car, so maybe he knew.
well, they were tracking the car, and then because I don't know why they would even think like that, but they were tracking the car, but the car was like, it just doesn't make sense to me how they came to that conclusion, because if they were tracking the car and they were tracking the owner of the car, it wouldn't be the same.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, because
Right.
they knew everything about this guy, right? Like friends, family, what's your dad? Like all that stuff. Like they've been watching him, even though it was his car, but
They came knocking at the wrong house. Hey.
came knocking at the door, red dot on the chest. And
That's wild.
That was the craziest part, is when they he was like, look, like it's two streets away, and then they dipped and tried chasing him. But
Like the Men in Black hopping in the van and pulling off. Like,
and then the last crazy part is when they recovered the vehicle, there was probably 2-3 ounces of weed just in the car. Like the cops didn't care. Sir, here's your car back. I know it's trash. We're not going to confiscate anything, but here you go. That doesn't make any sense. But yeah, so then we had to clean the car, get everything back. But yeah, that was the craziest story.
that's crazy.
And that's something you really can't do anything about, because like I said, like you're supposed to be on the phone with the cops. Hey, my car's running out. Keep an eye on it. Check on it for me.
Listen, I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna be straight up with you. If I'm getting yelled at to come out of the house, and I come out of the house and there's red dots on my chest, I might shit myself a smidge. There might be a skid in the underwear, because because sometimes you hear the horror stories. Somebody get a little trigger happy, you know, if you have
sometimes.
little
seriously.
5'3" Timmy who was picked on in high school, and all of a sudden he's in charge of this mission. I'm probably skidding. You know what I mean? I'm skidding for sure.
Yeah, because you never know.
You do never know. And then you also never know, like, why you're actually there at that, like, right when it's happening, like, FBI, come out of the house.
Like those streamers that get like they get what do they call it? Swatted.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Yeah. It's a scary situation, man. That's just nothing to mess around with. You definitely want to have level-headed cops or whatever at that point.
It's all, like, only thing you can do is speak, but that's sometimes what could get you killed.
Right, especially if you're reaching for your phone to try to show, and you got a red dot on your chest.
Yeah,
like,
literally.
It's a gun, but it's not. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, man.
But for the FBI to be involved in something like that, it just makes me think, like, how much was he, like, what did this guy do? What did this kid do?
On how long were they watching, and like
Yeah.
what all of, like that's just the craziest thing. Like
They
they're
said a
probably
couple other-
watching every single one of your business partners move, which is just so wild.
Yeah, they also said there was 2 other agencies involved that they couldn't say who it was, so
Okay.
don't know what that
CIA
means, but,
maybe.
Marshall, the
Person was connected somehow. The drug runner.
U.S. Marshals probably. I can't really even think who. DEA maybe, ATF, yeah,
Oh yeah, maybe.
something like that. But
Now you run your Turo business and stuff, and Rebecca, you're selling on Amazon, and you two are a couple. You guys are together.
Yes.
So now, do you guys like intertwine in each other's business? Like, do you help out with the rental business, and do you, because you sold on Amazon prior, do you help with the Amazon side of the business?
Yes and no. I probably help more with the cars than he does with Amazon.
whoa,
Where's the sound effects? The bomb dropping bombs.
I
Like,
probably help more
I
with
knew
the
there was gonna be
cars.
some shade.
No shade. There's no shade. I just think like with Amazon, like it's pretty like it's a simple day-to-day thing. Like with the cars, like for example, out in San Diego, like he went on a cruise for Thanksgiving last year or whenever it was, 2 years ago. I had to fly out to San Diego because I had to deal with the cars.
That's because all my employees were down bad. That was like the worst week, and I was
Yeah,
like,
so I had to go.
can't ask anybody else.
So I had to go out there. So
babe, I need you to go down there, please. Stop.
But here's the thing. He lived in downtown San Diego, and he probably lived on the nicest block in downtown San Diego, right across from the police
That's
station.
not saying much.
Which is not saying much.
I've never been to San Diego, so I
It's
have no idea
beautiful.
what San Diego
It's
looks
beautiful,
like.
but
I've heard it's beautiful.
The
but-
homeless are just, it's downtown,
it's
so
bad.
they're everywhere. It was literally, that was the only block that didn't have homeless was his. And the one rule all the time was that Hellcats get dropped off. The Hellcat gets dropped off, you put it in the garage. And I was like, okay, I'm going to put it in the garage, right? Because you can't leave it on the street. Because
Right.
it's like, what, the most stolen engine in the world or something
I
like
think
that.
we should fact check that, but I think that is probably the most stolen car in the history of the world.
Yeah, so that was like the rule. Like the Hellcat got dropped off, you better be down there. and you better move it, especially in downtown San Diego where he was. So I was already red flag there by myself, which
Some Grand Theft Auto type shit.
which like being there by myself in his apartment complex, which again was one of like the nicest, like he was on the very top floor. It was gated, whatever. You needed all these keys, blah, blah. I don't care. I don't trust any of these homeless people in California. They're wild. Okay. Moral of the story. I have to go downstairs the first time because the Corvette was dropped off. The Corvette was dropped off. That was fine, but we had an open spot. So I was like, okay, I'll move it into the garage. Not a problem. 7 a.m. I go down there. The lockbox is in the worst place possible for any person, male or female, but especially a female.
It's gotta be hidden.
It's hidden on a gate behind a bush. So you have to have your back to these crackheads, essentially.
Do you meet Joe Rogan, who's going to give you a map? No, and a key.
You have to have your back to the crackheads, and that was like my number one rule. Like, you don't turn your back to a crackhead. Like, I'm walking like downtown San Diego like this, and all the time I'm like on a swivel, and I had to put my back to the crackheads. And I was like, okay, right? So I would like go and I would run, and it's these numbers where it's like the things, and I'm not, the long nails and shit, like just gets jumbled. So
Sounds like excuses.
no. So I'm going and I'm like, all right, I gotta do this. And I'm like running. I literally would run. I would do 2 numbers. I'd run back. I'd look again. This is not a joke. I'm not joking.
So you're thinking somebody's going to steal the Hellcat because it's
Someone's gonna take
her.
me.
Oh, somebody's going to take
She's
you.
gonna get stolen.
Me. I'm the prized possession
Because
here.
your back is towards the crackhead.
My
Yes.
back's towards the crackhead. And crackheads, plural. And so I finally get the key for, this is the Corvette. So I don't want to say a car that didn't matter. It all mattered. The Corvette was actually my favorite car. I miss her. But I had to get this key. And I'm going and I'm walking towards the Corvette. All of a sudden there's this guy walking down the sidewalk. And he's like this, staring. Okay? And it's like 7 a.m. and I'm like, what?
He's probably looking at how flustered you are right now.
That's exactly what it was.
Literally, but he was like, what is this girl doing with this car? Blah, 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 blah. Like staring, like walking, staring, like stopped by me at the car and just was staring. And I like call, and I'm texting Alex because he's on a cruise, must be nice. And I'm like dealing with all these crackheads on a swivel. And I'm like, I can't do this. Like, there's too many. Do you have a knife? Do you have pepper spray? Do you have something? I didn't have anything. I had a fly, so I didn't go with anything. And I'm like describing the guy, and he was like, no, babe, like, that was my neighbor. And I'm like, your neighbor? Like, putting me in such distress. He's like, no, babe, that's my neighbor, blah, blah. Because I guess his neighbor texted him and was like, there was like this random girl who was like getting into your Corvette. Like, I don't really know. Like, was it a renter?
He thought somebody was stealing
Stealing
it.
the Corvette.
Because y'all probably like the shit like
yeah,
looking
because
like
I'm
this.
so
So he
sketchy.
probably thinks that you're the crackhead, even though you're not
Yes,
the crackhead.
that's what it
because
was.
you're so like oh my
Well,
god,
and
oh my god,
because
oh my
when they
god.
drop off the car, you have to take the pictures. You have to check the entire car, right? So I'm walking around the car and I'm like looking, but I'm also like, fuck. And then I'm like back down and I'm like, like
That's
to
what I'm
my
saying.
elbows.
It's just like when I'm in Walmart and as protection thinks I'm stealing because I'm constantly looking at like different things.
And so, okay, fast forward. Found out it was his neighbor, and I was like, tell your neighbor to like back off. The next day, the Hellcat gets dropped off again at 7 a.m. Like, I couldn't win. And I was like, all right, got to go down there, right? Because the sun's not all the way up. I need like the sun bright shining. He's on land, finally. So I FaceTime him. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing this again. You're going to sit right here. And I literally was like, you're going to sit right here and you're going to watch everything that's going on. Because he thought I was like lying. I was like, no, there's like people staring at me when I do this. Like, I can't do this. Now it was the Hellcat. So this was the actual important car where like there was no ifs, ands, and buts. You go down, you get that car and you put it in the garage. We don't care. Same thing. Had to do with the lockbox, blah, blah, blah. I go to the Hellcat. Now there is an actual legitimate crackhead, not a neighbor. Like barefoot, hair's all crazy, half jacket zip, walking like all over the place. And I'm like, okay, just don't make eye contact. Even though you make eye contact and they like stare through your soul. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I call him and I'm like this. And I'm like, Alex, I have to look at the Hellcat. Can you just watch? And he's just like, oh, babe, like you're exaggerating. But I'm like, no, watch this. I literally am like this. And this homeless man starts getting closer and closer. And he's literally like this. Probably like this far away.
And you're like this,
away.
trying not to make eye contact.
Well, now
but you can feel it like
Still looking away.
because I have the phone like this and I'm like, Alex, are you watching? Alex, are you watching? And he's like yelling on the phone. He's like yelling on the phone. The homeless man is just like this. Like, I don't know what he was thinking in his mind. And I'm like trying to like fiddle with the key because it's not like a key. Like the red key is just a fat, thick red key. So you have to try to get the other key out. And so I'm like fiddling with this, right, to get a key.
So it's a key and a key.
To put it in between my fingers, because if he came, I was like, I was like ready. And now it's just like, babe, he's too close to the car. I'm like, he's too close to me. I'm like, what do you mean?
Get him away from the Hellcat. Get him away from the Hellcat. He's there. He's too close.
So thank God. I mean, I don't know. I guess he like turned on a switch and started just walking, like literally like almost just like turned around and started walking the other way. And I'm like sweating. I'm like in a panic. And I'm like, you, like, I'm not doing this shit again. Get home from your cruise now. I don't care where you are. You better start swimming home because I'm not doing this anymore. And
man overboard.
So to answer everyone's question,
notice how you came alive. Once we started talking about
that's crazy.
Your involvement.
Wow. My involvement, my near-death experiences over these
Something
freaking
like
rental cars. Okay. I don't know how many times like the Corvette broke down. I had to go pick up him and his business partner somewhere because the Corvette broke down somewhere and this, that, the other.
I don't think those things happen.
Yes, huh? The Corvette broke down on a rental or something. Oh,
yeah, but nobody went to go get it.
I forgot to mention they had a Porsche. They still have the Porsche. It's a stick.
Oh, you can't drive stick?
Can't drive stick.
Really? You can't drive stick?
Can't drive stick.
Well, no, we had some lessons.
Can't drive stick.
And you should be able to by this point.
Okay, I could drive stick like on a straight road for 5 seconds. I had to whip it around, pull it down into a garage. Like, can't drive a stick. So
she's like
jumping all over the place.
I was like, I don't know what you want me to do. I can't, because you can't leave it on the street because of where it was like the sweet streeping and whatever sweet streeping. And all these other weird downtown rules is why I never would want to live in downtown. And so I had to move the car.
You're the car mover.
Well, we did lessons for like 5 minutes, and he was like, "Oh yeah, like you're doing great." And I'm like, "I'm gonna park."
We did lessons probably like 4 different times in 30-minute intervals. That's enough time to learn stick, wouldn't you say?
No.
I think so.
Yeah,
I think so. My wife learned stick by her brother-in-law. And when I met my wife, I had a Honda Civic. It was like Honda Blue, stick shift, cooler intake. It was a little hooked up, exhaust, whatever. You know, it was like one of those like things.
Yeah.
And it was stick shift, and I was driving it, and I let her drive, and she's gonna kill me right when I say this. But first time I let her drive it, I thought she was gonna burn my clutch out because I was like, "Yo, let go of the clutch!" I'm like, "You're making me nervous." I was like, "Yo, just you gotta get out." I'm gonna drive. There's no more stick shifting, no more double shifting, granny clutching, whatever the fuck it is. You know, Fast and the Furious. You gotta get out. So that was the first and last time she ever drove a stick shift.
Yeah. So I had to move it from the street. So I was like, "What do you want me to do?" Because I'm not moving it. I was like, "Does your neighbor, who thought we were besties the other day, want to come move the car?" And so I ended up having to have the guest pull it into the garage. Okay, here's another red flag, right? This random man, I don't know who he is.
This all went down in San Diego.
San Diego.
This
Does this happen here in Florida?
Span of like 3 days.
Literally 3 days. And I was like, never.
No, this only she makes it seem like this happens every single week and this is her life. This is only
I'm traumatized.
The 3 days that I was out of the country. And of course you have all of these crazy things happen when I'm not there that don't happen to me or
that's
any
always
of my guys.
Listen, that's always how it happens. It always happens when you don't think it's gonna happen.
And so I was like, okay, well, I gotta tell this random man to move it into the garage. But guess what? The only way he could get into the complex garage is with the key. And
so you had to ask a stranger to move the stick shift in the
kind of
the renter.
The person that rented it.
But guess who had to do it with him? Me. So I had to go into this random car all alone in San Diego, in a place that was already sketchy enough with a random man who I didn't know. I had to sit in the passenger seat and be like, "All right, just bring it down to the garage, please." This time I would bring a pocket knife because this is not the first instance. I had to do some shit with Facebook Marketplace for you.
Oh no, I can't. I can't deal with Facebook Marketplace.
We'll get back to this one.
I can't deal with Facebook Marketplace, man. I don't even like to sell on Facebook Marketplace.
So I had to go with this random man in the Porsche, who I don't know, and tell him where to park the car. Okay, but guess what? Now you can't get into the building to get back out unless you have another key. So now I had to walk with this man upstairs to an elevator, walk him out of the gate.
Was he at least a nice guy?
God is on my side for this. Like, I live to tell, thank God.
Little did she know I knew this person the whole time.
No, you didn't. Let's talk about the Facebook Marketplace, though. So they were moving out, right? And guess what? This random lady comes. She wants the patio furniture. This lady had a park over here.
Wait. This isn't car rental. This is patio. This is selling on Facebook Marketplace.
This is a flip.
Because I just need everybody to know I hate Facebook Marketplace with a passion.
Well, my life was then again put on the line over some couches. And
It was a lady.
It was a lady, and she was just like, well, she parked somewhere else. She was lost. And him and his business partner, who was his roommate at the time, and they're just like, oh, Rebecca, like, well, maybe you can go and help her.
She doesn't really explain the options because what happened was
Nothing happened.
we had to
That's
bring
what
out
happened.
2 couches. One couch was down, and the other one we had to go get. So somebody had to ride with this lady so she could get out, so we could bring the other couch down, and it would be easy for her to
Into the
get
garage
it. So
again.
she either had to ride with the lady and poke the key, or bring the couch down. What do you think you would have liked to do?
I guess sacrifice my life again. So now
Bring the couch down by yourself?
So it was dark.
I'll remember that for next
It was
time.
dark. So now me and this random lady, who I don't know, she parked, of course, 2 blocks down. So now we're walking past tents and all this stuff. 2 women.
You're gonna walk by the homeless tents.
Yeah.
That's exaggerated. There was no homeless
Yes.
tents.
Where she parked. Where she parked. Yes. So I bring the pocket knife, and because I don't know, it's either me or you, and it's gonna be you. Like it's gonna be you 100% of the time. So, and it's dark downtown San Diego. It's like 8:30 at night. Now you have 2 women walking downtown San Diego, which is already a red flag in and of itself. Now I'm walking with her, this random lady, all the way to her van, 2 blocks down. To bring her into the garage so precious Alex and his business partner could be standing there all safe and sound with their couches to put it in her van.
Well, in Alex's defense, were you gonna bring the couch down though?
Hell no.
Him and his business partner could have.
Who's going to let the lady out?
But I'm saying if him and his business partner had to carry the couch down, what were they gonna do after that?
How does the couch get down?
What would you have done if I wasn't even there? This was a setup. I was set up. It's like, oh yeah, I'll pay for your flight, baby. Come to San Diego. I'm gonna get put to work.
That's how it goes.
Like,
Put it in a contract.
I just want to go to La Jolla and chill. And I'm like sacrificing my life day in and day out for these vehicles.
You must have a hard life.
These
I mean,
couches.
listen. Thankfully, you don't live in California anymore.
I miss it
Do you miss it?
a little bit. I think it's beautiful there.
I'm sure it is.
It's beautiful there. But I mean, now that I've told that story, let's see what Alex does for Amazon. He buys my extra 5 units at Nike when I need more units.
That's it, huh? That's crazy.
See, she's talking wild now, right?
That is crazy.
He gets me my extra units.
Alex,
when I
what do
need
you
them.
actually help with the Amazon?
Well, Alex is the only reason I sell on Amazon. Like, he's the one that is pretty much the reason
Got
why
you
I'm
started.
sitting here today. Yeah.
So yeah,
Sneakers?
I really
Nice.
yeah, in the beginning, I would say in the beginning I helped a lot to like help her understand what it was. And then recently I helped with like the Find It Flip It social media site, because I do that, she does that, and that's probably what we do best together is getting ideas and things like that on content side of things, like how could I make this better, or what can I do with this, or what's a good hook that I could put here, this is what I have, how can I make it better, those sorts of things. So the content side of things, and then the annoying things that happen in both sides of the business, like with the car rental, some random things that just need to be done, and then with Amazon, the most annoying things that you just get stuck with just because hey, can I help out? Do the shitty shit.
Now, with both your social medias, right? You're Find It Flip It on IG. You're Alex Profits.
Yep.
Alex, how many followers do you have?
On Instagram, I have like 35. YouTube, I have like 20. And TikTok, I have like 25, something like that.
What about you? What's your social media like?
On Instagram, I have 92,000. On YouTube, I think I'm up to like 500 subscribers, I think, on YouTube almost.
Let's go.
You kind of just started.
I
long
just started
form, right?
YouTube. Yeah,
You
just started
you
2 weeks ago.
So you're gonna get that up. You're gonna get that up to 1,000, right? So you can monetize. Your watch hours are probably. Oh well, you've only uploaded shorts though, right?
2 videos thus far.
On YouTube. Okay. Do you guys ever like compete as far as like social media? Like, hey, I have look at my social media growing. You better step your game up or anything like that.
I do with Instagram.
I find Instagram's hard to grow, man.
I love Instagram.
Yeah, Instagram, it's difficult because there's sometimes I like Instagram the best, but I would prefer YouTube. I just don't put as much time into YouTube. Really, what I did is when I first started posting content on the Alex Profits, I started out on TikTok and then posted content as it was going viral, and then reused all of that content, posted the exact same videos to Instagram, and that got me to 20,000 followers.
Right.
And then the same thing with with YouTube Shorts. I just used all of those same exact videos from TikTok on YouTube Shorts, and that got me 20,000 subscribers.
Dude, I've been sitting
or like
on
10
Instagram,
or 15, but
on Instagram, I've been sitting at 17.5 for the last 3.5 years, going up 100, going down 100.
You need to do something
going up
crazy.
100, going
it's
down
all
100.
in the shorts. Instagram is super easy to grow with viral shorts. So that's why, to me, like, the most important thing to Instagram is mastering the fact that you're going to have a viral hook. Like, as the first 3 seconds, if it's not a visual hook or an actual call to action hook or something crazy that you're saying that can bring some people talking about some
like
stuff, then
starting
it's not
out
gonna
like,
go viral.
I stole 5 products from Walmart. This is how I did it.
Yeah.
And then you
Yeah,
just kind of go
pretty
and
much.
talk about your clearance.
Like one recent video
It's one
for
of the
me
things I lack.
was like stupid, but I think you helped me come up with it. I said this
I don't mean to laugh. I don't mean to laugh, but the way you said that was extremely funny.
I
It was
think
just,
she
like,
might have.
You know, I did this Instagram reel, stupid, but
And she
I think
made-
you
and
had me
she
come up
helped
with
me.
it.
Well, no, because the
That was
stupid
awesome.
stuff goes the most viral. So
Right,
this
I
video
agree.
got 2.5 million views. It was posted like a couple weeks ago, and it said,
The lockdown.
this dude paid my rent, and he doesn't even know it yet. So it was a video of somebody picking it up, and I zoomed in on his head, while, like, from above. Like, super weird, creepy person video to even record to begin with. But that's what the hook was, and that's I deeply believe that's the only reason why that video. Obviously, it's a good video throughout.
And those
but that's why.
videos you've said in the past are the ones that have got you in trouble, right? Like taking down, like where you say,
On TikTok.
like watch
TikTok.
my monthly right on TikTok.
Yeah.
Watch my monthly rent be paid by I think you said like Nike socks. This
Yeah.
is how Nike hats pay my rent
Yeah.
or whatever.
And they freaking scam. They say scam and fraud, and TikTok shuts me
Yeah.
down. But Instagram, I mean, they do very well. Those alone that is why I probably gained so many followers. Of the X pays my rent.
Right.
Those
I make
videos
money
can
doing
work in
this.
any niche,
Right.
guaranteed. Just plug and play.
Yeah.
A lot of the hooks, like what I tell her, what we talk about all the time is, like, literally, if anybody wanted to go viral on social media, all you have to do is copy. It sounds bad, but copy the flow of a guaranteed video that already went viral, and then just
Yeah.
replace the exact hook with your exact words, and then the video, just go reshoot the B-roll behind whatever is happening, what they're saying.
And
So-
people do. I see you bitches out there. I see you bitches. But you'll never be as good as the original.
That's like the best way to start, though, because you can just ride somebody else's wave, but it's not really that. I look at it as, this is what's proven to go viral at this point in time. It's not always going to work. So it's like, is somebody really copying you, or are they riding the wave that you found out about? You know what I mean? Which could be considered copying. But then if nobody's copying you, you're not really doing anything right.
What's
So-
your revenue look like for like last year? Like if somebody who has a fleet of cars, they're renting on Turo, they're doing private, all this other stuff. What do you like? What can somebody? Well, I shouldn't say what can somebody expect, because you're experienced in this field.
Yeah.
You've been doing it for a little while, so it's like it's not like you have 3 cars. But what's revenue look like for you on a car rental business?
So the revenue is, it's going to sound a lot higher than what it actually is because of all the managed vehicles. So I'm only getting 40% of that, but it's definitely single digit in the millions. But the profit would be anywhere from mid 5 figures, sometimes low 6 figures per month. So
Love it.
yeah,
Love it, man. And if somebody wants to start I know we had talked about starting with your own vehicle, but say somebody does start with their own vehicle and they want to push it further. What's a piece of advice you could recommend with somebody who wants to dive deeper in it? Like they want to buy a second or third vehicle. Should they go with economy, or should they go with like a managed like partner, or should they go themselves?
I would say if anybody's interested, what you should do is try it out yourself with a car that you have, and then if you like it, then buy another cheap car. Because the beauty of buying the cheap cars is, if you own them outright, you control the exit on them. And realistically, I've had mentorship students that will scale them up to 8 cash cars in 12 months or less, and then they'll just go and sell all 8 of those cars or trade them in for another car that they want that's more expensive, get out of the game and get a car for free. So you can also upgrade your fleet like that too. You know what I mean? If you had 8 cash cars, trade in 4 for a little bit nicer car, you get that car for free, and you can upgrade your fleet that way. And that's where the value comes in on the economy cars, is you can get wherever you want to, even to the exotic, but it all starts with a solid foundation and something you can build off of every single month. So
hell yeah, man. Do you find that a lot of people rent cars to do rideshare, or they're just renting cars because they're on vacation and stuff?
like customers?
Yeah.
On the customer side,
Like, do they have to disclose that they're going to use it for rideshare, or
Yeah.
it doesn't matter? They do have to disclose.
they do
it.
have to disclose, yeah. There's probably like 20% of rentals on a monthly basis come from
Probably the Teslas.
rideshare. Yeah.
I'm going to assume maybe the Teslas.
And black SUVs.
Black SUVs.
Yeah, those ones do really, really well. Like this Escalade we just got, that one's going to go insane for that type of stuff, because the people that are using them, like Uber Black, they can make a lot of money with them too. So
As long as the business is there.
Right.
It's so competitive, especially like out in Miami and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, to rent that Escalade, what does that cost a week? Or is it per day?
Yeah, it's per day, and then it varies off of that depending on exactly how long the trip is. But it's anywhere from $199 to $399 a day for the new body style.
Damn, they better be getting a lot of fucking rides to cover that cost.
But that's the other thing, is those clients don't pay those rates. They might pay like $4,000 a month.
$4,000 a month. $4,000 a month actually isn't that bad, because I know. Well, $4,000 a month is a little high. Because
Think
I
about
know
what you could finance that car for. It's
Yeah,
not $4,000, you know. But it's got to
yeah.
be somewhere above what you could finance it for with great credit. It has to be more expensive.
because I know a
than
couple
that.
guys that were paying $500 a week for a Tesla Model Y.
Yeah.
Specifically for rideshare, and that $500 covered everything from insurance to whatever, and it was delivered to them. It was from a company called.
It was around here.
I think it's literally called Drive Whip. It's a company in Maryland. They deliver the car to you. They all have Maryland plates.
I got you.
But I think it's called Drive Whip, and it's $500 a week, and it covers everything from like car insurance to everything. So a lot of these rideshare guys were picking that up because they're making anywhere from $1,500 to $2,000 a week.
Yeah.
And they have no commitments to that vehicle. But in my head, I'm like, damn. I'm like, but you really gotta bust your ass, like if like to make that $500.
Yeah.
And actually make some take-home pay,
Right.
like you're driving 10, 12 hours a day.
You said you used to do Uber. How
Yeah.
was that?
Honestly, I loved it. I met a lot of people. That
You
was one of the
still
main
do it, or
reasons.
Are you done?
I do it occasionally. like on the weekends. That's how I met a lot, like Gianni, Rod. I met those guys, Uber.
Nice.
A couple of DJs that I had here, Uber. I met a couple of big names out in Miami. Big Surgeon, who got me and my wife last year reservation to Carbone.
Oh, nice.
I had to book it out. He said he knew like Mario, which is like the owner and stuff, and he had his concierge email them, and it got it like no problem. I was like, damn. So it was I started to do it more and more in Miami just to meet people and pass out. Like, I have business cards made up, and I would give them business cards about my YouTube channel. And
Oh, there you go.
I would pick up kids at FAU, and I would talk to them about YouTube, and they would subscribe to you, blah blah blah. So it was like yeah, I was doing it like on the weekends and stuff, but I was also like doing it because I felt like making that connections were like crazy, you know.
That's
but
huge.
but it's in the summertime, it's not that great.
What kind of car do you use with it? Is it a Uber Black XL or
Durango.
just-
Nope. So
that doesn't qualify for Uber Black?
so the Durango they won't even give me comfort rides. They only give you X or XL.
What?
And you get Uber Pet, and you can do food deliveries, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So basically, anything that's going to make money is going to be XL.
Yeah.
But like going down to Miami for Art Basel, driving XL only, I did like 2,400 from Wednesday through Sunday. I did 2,400. I was doing about $500-$600 a day
That's pretty
down
good.
there, but it was crazy.
What do you think? Because I know these guys are paying it. I don't ask them how much they make, but obviously it has to be worth it. But what do you think somebody with a Escalade would make?
So I actually had one of the guy who has a Suburban. And he would only take the higher tiers. He wouldn't even do XLs. He was just doing blacks and stuff like that. And sometimes he was making $600-$700 in a day.
Oh, wow.
But then some days he's making $150.
Right.
You know what I mean? It probably costs almost that to fill up the Suburban.
That makes sense.
You know what I mean? So it just really depends on the time of day. If you're doing airport runs, if you're not, it's so variable that I couldn't see myself doing that and relying on that pay to live.
Yeah.
But it's great extra money, and it's a great Band-Aid if something. So the reason why I even started Uber and Lyft and stuff was because my YouTube channel was demonetized for 9 months.
Damn.
So like my livelihood was on YouTube. I was making $10,000 to $15,000 a month on YouTube. I was selling on Amazon. Everything kind of fell to shit. So I needed to have a Band-Aid.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, I got to get out and start driving. So I started driving. Started out as documenting, and then I started to be like, you know what? I'm just gonna start fucking driving, because if I'm demonetized, we got no YouTube money coming in. This is like, I got a family of 4. Yep. Health insurance, shit was just crazy. Like I could probably do a whole podcast on what the fuck I've been through the last 3 years. Moving down here.
That's crazy.
It's been wild, but I never gave up. I'm doing a hell of a lot better now, and it's just crazy. So many people would have given up.
That's the thing.
And they would have I don't know, turned to drinking, or they would have just been like, oh my God, I can't do anything. I'm going to go get a 9-to-5 job at Domino's. No offense to anybody who works at Domino's, but it's just like just in desperation, not believing in yourself, and just kind of like jumping that ship and going to get that job, and then you'll never, whatever. So yeah, I've been through a lot of shit.
It's crazy, because like as an entrepreneur, you never know, like you think, okay, well, why would this go away, or whatever the case may be. But when I actually started on Turo, I never thought that my account would get shut down on Amazon. You know what I mean? But it was just so, I was lucky that I had at least started on that. Now, don't get me wrong, for a while when that got shut down, like I wasn't doing anything crazy on Turo. I was like, thank God I had some money saved, those sorts of things. But if you're not thinking like a couple steps ahead, you could easily fuck yourself. Very easily.
And I think one of my biggest mistakes looking back was I've never come into that much money in such a short time in my life.
Right.
I've never seen that.
Yeah.
So because I've never seen it, I never knew what to do with it. So like I put some money aside, and I was like, oh, I'll put some into crypto, and then crypto, like at that time tanked, stock market tanked, inflation hit. Like I sold my home in Massachusetts, couldn't get into a home in Florida right away because people outbid me. Then interest rates went up to 9%. And I was just like, okay, do we really want to buy a $400,000 house for $850,000? And then we want to refinance. What are they going to appraise it at? You think they're going to appraise it at $850? No, we're going to be negative equity. It's going to be garbage.
Yeah.
The fuck are we going to do? You know what I mean? So that's why we still rent now. I'm still putting money on the sidelines, and I just told my wife, I'm like, listen, we just got to take our time. And just we got to do it the right way, because we're not talking about $20, $30, $100,000. We're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars over the course of probably the rest of my lifetime. So it's like, I want to make sure that we do the right thing. So it's just been crazy, man.
It's always crazy.
So you helped with the Find It Flip It brand.
Yes, I do. I'm not a main helper, but I do help. Yes.
He's the
behind
cameraman.
the scenes. I'm the cameraman. I help with behind the scenes stuff.
So when you're walking from the stores, you don't have it set up on a tripod.
That's him.
You're the tripod.
Yeah, so she'll film my content and I'll film her content.
That's awesome. I tried getting my wife involved with, so my wife, she was here earlier. I filmed an episode with her, and she started YouTube a year before I did, and she was a big inspiration to why I started YouTube.
Oh, nice.
And I always asked her, I'm like, hey, I was like, listen, you're doing home decor stuff, and you're doing like home decor hauls from TJ Maxx. I'm selling the home decor. I started selling like Ray Dunn on eBay at the time. And I was buying them for like $2, selling them for 25, and before I even sold on Amazon. But I was like, why don't we like do this as like a team effort? She just never wanted to get into the whole reselling thing. She was more interested in buying it, talking about it, reviewing it, like placement, and more like interior design, home decor type stuff. She didn't really want to get into the whole Amazon and reselling thing. Yeah. And I never wanted to get into the home. Where am I going to fit in that? It's not my thing. You know what I mean? So I was like, okay, well, we'll have to figure this one out then, because I don't know how am I going to take this business. At the time I was managing banking centers for banks and shit. And it was just wild. It was just wild. But I always thought to myself, like, what would have happened if me and her teamed up and like did something like that, where she films me in the stores, and because like I'm so used to like holding my camera up like this, filming myself, even on lives when I would go in Walmart. I'm holding the camera myself, and it's always this angle, And I'm like, if I had somebody following me, I feel like that's such a different perspective.
It is.
It's a different viewing experience.
So much easier.
It's a different viewing experience.
Well, that's the thing. I feel like that probably holds a lot of people back from getting into content, is they hold themselves back by saying like obviously good for you. You picked up the camera. You're like, fuck it, I'm just going to do it myself type thing, But you do get a better shot if you are, like, if somebody is filming you. So it's more or less like, if she's got something to film, we might as well just line it up at the same time, and then we'll do mine first. But usually it's hers first, and then it goes to mine, and I get the scraps or whatever time is left. You know how it goes.
Yep.
But yeah, it's really cool.
And I figured that was a better angle because we went in and did like a family vlog in Walmart one time. Me, her, and the kids. And I was like, listen, hold the camera and film me like sourcing and stuff. And she filmed me, and I rewatched it, and it was one of those videos where at the time I was only getting 1,000 to 3,000 views of my videos, and this one got like 11,000.
Oh damn!
In the same time period that I would only have like maybe 1,000 or 2,000 views. So I'm like, see, I was like, hey, we should go out more, blah blah blah. And she just doesn't want. She just wants no part of the reselling.
Yeah,
she just doesn't want it. I was like, okay, well, you know what? Fuck it, I'll do it myself. All right, I'll do it myself.
Sometimes.
So no, it's honestly it's worked out that way. It could be just because when I go out and do things, I kind of just do things on my own time, or whatever. But I do wish I had a cameraman sometimes. I do because, like you said, that perspective is just
it's
a different viewing experience.
And then also like if you like, it's always like creativeness that you can kind of ping off each other at the same point. Like if she's like, I want this film, she gets pretty bossy sometimes. It needs to be this, it needs to be this way. I'm like,
I know it works, and I know it looks good.
This is going to be a little bit of a better angle. Why don't you hear me out? And then she's like, okay, yeah, I think that'll be good. And then we'll test that out. She's like, oh, I actually like that better. But she won't say like, thank you for the idea. It's just like, that was good. But we won't acknowledge that it was good.
Listen,
you know?
I notice on both your social medias, you do things with the same like overlay. Like when you talk, like I think I mentioned this before, how you'll finish and you'll start the next sentence after the last sentence kind of thing. Do you guys, what program is that?
Oh, you're overlaying now?
Where'd you get that from?
Where did you get that from?
Your content is very similar to mine.
I'm the overlay queen.
Wow. It's honestly just the way that you edit the voice
CapCut.
Memos.
CapCut. See, I don't use CapCut.
I didn't know you were doing that.
I don't use CapCut.
My stuff just flows a little bit more seamless.
Overlay?
It's like a little. It's like it doesn't overlay completely,
It's just
but
quick.
it's a slight.
But that all goes into watch time though, because if you don't like that, those
Keep
seconds
interactive.
add up.
Absolutely.
Like you have to almost. She overlays way more than I do. I don't know if you noticed that.
Totally.
And sometimes
I
in her
agree with that. I
comments,
agree with that.
People are like, "Stop doing that! Stop overlaying!" Like, but I don't get those type of comments. She's like, super like, "What was that last word that you even said?"
It don't matter.
But that's
my
what's
God.
yeah. I do it because it has to be short to be able to go viral and keep that engagement there. But yeah, I wonder where that idea came from.
Overlay? Me. Because I had too much information in 30 seconds. So I would just be like, next, next. I didn't know you were overlaying. And,
That's how I know you don't know that I.
and you're seeing all the, this lockbox pays my rent.
Should we start on how you even came up with that first script to begin with? That main hook. All of the main hooks.
We brainstormed a little bit.
We did. Oh, I guess we did.
There's no I in we.
Huh.
We brainstormed a
Oh,
lot.
is that the right saying? There's no I in we.
Win.
There's
Or wait, no, there isn't.
No, there is an I in we.
Jeez, what?
There's an I in win. Damn it, an I win. Oh my God, Alex, where can people find you on social media? I know we said Alex Profits. Is it Alex Profits, as in one word, on all social medias, or is there any differentials on?
I almost had it. So Instagram, YouTube, at Alex Profits. TikTok has a dot in between Alex and Profits. So pretty much the same, but yeah, if you type in Alex Profits on all socials, you'll come across it.
Okay, so if you're interested in Turo or anything hustle, I mean the guy's running a crazy fleet, so definitely check out his socials.
Thank you guys so much for watching this episode of the Boss Podcast. And thank you so much, Alex, for joining us today.
Woo! Of course, I appreciate you guys for having me.
Again, you can find him, Alex Profits, on all socials. And stay bossy. I think I'm adding that in. I think that's new. That just kind of, he doesn't like
bossy.
it.
Stay bossy.
He hates it.
I don't know. I wasn't expecting it.
bossy.
If you cut it at that point and it ends, that would be funny, I think.
Stay bossy.
Catch you guys on the next one. Stay bossy.
Stay bossy.